Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. The blackest hearted, blackest minded, blackest man on social media is signing black in. So get your flashlights again and hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Now, in my last upload, I promised you all that what I was going to do was explain to you the relationship between a key characteristic of the carousel and how it negates the shaming tactics employed by the sisterhood in their playbook. And I want to give a shout out to the Imam Sheikh Maulana Mufti Amir Dwight Hayes again, because he has memorized this playbook. Not only the steps, but their order. I want to give a shout out Game Changer because he has covered the playbook. He's talked about it before. Here's what's going on with this playbook. You already know. The shaming tactics that come out of it are going to be attacks that don't actually address the issue, but they try to discredit you if you point out what you can observe and what others can observe too. As things such as UGAY. Who hurt you? You just mad because you didn't get none. You just ain't alpha enough. You beta. You're just not attractive enough. Matter of fact, there is a Muslim from the States who's very divisive, African-American gentleman, Ados, and he loves to talk that Ados stuff. I'm not going to say his name, but he one of them cats. He said that in a post. I commented underneath, but I didn't dig in on him. However, I'm waiting on, he does this, so I'm waiting on him to retaliate, then I'm going to chew him up. And if he doesn't, then no harm, no foul, and I'm not even going to talk junk. Because he may have changed since I last knew him. But I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all this too, though. These shaming tactics, as you know, can't be leveled against you in a way that actually addresses the issue. And here's the key characteristic of the carousel that negates all of what they say. It is so key that some of you are going to understand right off the bat the relationship as soon as I tell you the key characteristic. I will still explain the relationship after I explain the key characteristic of the Coq Carousel for the benefit of those who might not be sure. Most of you will guess, though, and it's very simple. Who hurt you? UGAY, and you just mad because of what you didn't get. Actually, are confessions when you understand this. The Coq Carousel is not composed of a whole bunch of cocks. In any local environment, the Coq Carousel is a limited number. It's a small number. It's a small percentage of the male population. Some small towns, it may not be any more than 2 dudes that are out there just getting all the trim. You take a little country town like, let's take New Albany, Mississippi, right? There's hardly anybody ever hears about it. Now, New Albany has about maybe 2, or maybe had 2 that were just getting around town, and that was a set of twins. I'm talking about just in black New Albany. It was a set of twins. One of them has since passed on. I don't know if the other one is still alive or not. But, oh yeah, I knew about them. I wasn't supposed to, but I knew about them. So in any case, they were just, they were really getting around a whole lot. I'm simply saying that that carousel is really not composed of a whole bunch. Yet and still, it is enough to where any individual woman that rides it is going to pick up a body count that is too high. This tells you all you need to know right then and there. If that carousel is not composed of even, it's not even composed of a minority of a majority of the cocks around. It's composed largely of, it's a minority of a minority. Between 7 to 15% are even eligible. The women determine who gets to form that carousel. Now, of course, that's the whole point. They get to determine who forms the carousel. And that carousel is composed of the ones for whom they're going to compete against each other. Even if they don't like it or don't want to admit it, they will still at least do it because they see something genetically that's worth it. Pre-selected. So when they say to you, well, who hurt you? That's a confession. What they're pretty much saying is, look, I would have hurt you. I would either never deal with you or I would hurt you. Those are the only two ways that this could turn out because of, and that's where the lie comes in. The truth to which they're confessing is they would either not deal with you or they would hurt you. But they lie implicitly about why. And what they want to imply is you are the reason. When in fact, it's not really you. It's not about who you are that makes you such that many women would either hurt you or not deal with you. It is the fact that you are normal. That's enough for the Westerner. The Western Sapphire, Boomashika, Bonquisha, and even Karen, Becky, and Amber don't really need a reason to hurt you. They need an exceptional reason to not do so. And if that's the case, well, hell, you're supposed to hurt them. Because even then, they can't get social validation from their friends if they don't have some stories like that about what kind of dogs men are. But at some point, to balance that out and keep the social validation, they have to be able to say that some guy that other women want settled down with them and committed to them. They have to be able to say that. But that comes later. In the initial stages, you're that kind of guy. I mean, at some point, you got to give them their war stories. Maybe, if they can, they'll take a regular normal guy and hurt him and then use him as a war story for the hair salon about how they got hurt. The point I'm making is that you are a normal, run-of-the-mill man, and that's all it takes. What they have to do is they have to turn around and act like it's somehow your fault. And so they're assuming that you would not be able to even care about this sort of issue if you had not been hurt. Well, everybody gets hurt at some point. However, what they're trying to imply again is it's you. And they're ignoring the fact that the majority of men who know the situation are saying the same thing, whether they were part of the carousel or not. That's what they're forgetting. And as a matter of fact, a lot of what we've learned that we suspected beforehand, we learned from men who formed the carousel. They confirmed a lot of things for us. And we confirmed things for them they didn't know. That, the media is not completely wrong about the heartbreak through which some men go. We confirmed that for them. No, you actually adore her. She's going to start committing microaggressions against you. That's how they see it. They see it one way, whereas in actuality, they're trying to judge us through their own lens. I mean, they don't want you to actually act like that, but then they still turn around and try to interpret us through their lens. The problem is that, as I said in my last one, many of them socialized in the West, especially, are children. Emotionally speaking, they're kids. They just have functioning memories and functioning wounds. That's all. But they're kids. They're not fully adults. And I don't believe that it's because they can't grow to that. No, I believe they've got agency. They are capable of that. They just refuse to because, frankly, they don't have to. And even the ones who need to, because they're not going to have a line of men waiting to take care of them, still feel that they don't have to go the ukfup because their friends don't have to go the ukfup. And they're not going to be the one that has to mature when other women don't. That's their mindset. Well, if that's their mindset, then we have the right to say, well, we refuse to be the celibate men if other men don't have to be. Or we're going to make that choice and be voluntarily so, but you're not going to sit up and screw everybody else and then tell me that I got to be. That's an entitlement that they're not going to like. They're going to hate that, and I understand it. But nonetheless, that's an entitlement that we have to have. And I'm not talking about forcing them to sexually submit. What I'm talking about doing is leaving them the hell alone, except for business, and to not try to get with them. That's what I'm talking about. not make these efforts. Don't pursue them. If you're going to pursue anybody, you pursue someone that's not from the West. Don't pursue the Western black woman. Don't pursue the Western. Don't pursue the Western woman. I was about to say, who the Western Karen and Becky and Amber, but I realized, you know what? No, don't actually even don't pursue the Westerners whose parents, or let's say whose grandparents come from a background that's not considered black or white. Don't do it. Why? Because frankly, in a nutshell, and we all know this, they're still Western, and they're going to give you the further mucking blues because they can. That's who they are, and that's what they are, and that's how they roll. So in a nutshell, all I wanted to do was get at you with this. That key characteristic of the Coq Carousel is that it ain't enough cocks for them to sit up here and try to insinuate that men who can come with this red pill knowledge and awareness are just all a bunch of not only bitter, angry, and butthurt dudes, which you'd have a right to be, not because of their preferences, but because of the lies and the dishonesty. But then turn around and try to insinuate that it's somehow your fault when, in fact, that carousel itself is something for which only between 7 to 15% of men are even going to be deemed eligible by the women. They ride the carousel, and they want to sit up. Some of them want to sit up and talk about, well, why are y'all being a carousel? No, it ain't y'all. It's 7 to 15% of men that are on the carousel. You get to choose who even can be, and you say most men can't. And if that's your actual preference, that's okay. You just have to take responsibility for it. It's your preference. We don't want to hear this mess about what we had to do with it. It's you. It's you. It's you. It's you. You screwed this up. Just be honest about it. That's the part that they're not ready for. Excuse me. They're just not, set up for that. Not in the West. So keep it militant, gentlemen. You don't have to engage with him in the first place. You do have to tell the young men, though. You got to let them know what the games are, what they're going to say ahead of time. You're going to have to tell them the truth. This is what the deal is. This is what games they want to play. And if your father ain't telling you this, he probably doesn't know. If your father can't reach you to tell you this, don't even assume that he ain't around because he just doesn't want to be. Don't even assume that. Just go on ahead and understand these are the games. Love your mom and honor her, but don't expect her to tell on women for your benefit. And this is true. And if you don't believe me, you can go on to Facebook and you can look up Khalid. UMM space KHALID. This is a Muslima. I don't know what her race is and don't care. She's begun to tell the truth about women's in-group preference, and she's talking largely about Muslim women's. Go ahead and enjoy that while y'all can. UMM KHALID. And remember, all them shaming tactics are already negated by that one key characteristic of the Coq Carousel to begin with, on which they ride, after which they want to come to regular men for a retirement plan. And that is that they themselves aren't trying to make or approve of a whole lot of cocks to be eligible to form that carousel. So if that's the case, then how dare they come and ask you, well, who hurt you? And you just mad because you didn't get it. That makes you the same as most men. What you didn't get and from whom you didn't get it makes you like the majority of guys. So what's really going on and what are they trying to hide? That means that every time one of them tries a shaming tactic, if you choose to engage with them, you say this to them and then say, now, the question is that you raised this point, who hurt you and all that. The question then becomes, what is it that you really want to hide from men? What is it about women that you know is true, but you don't want men to know? That's the real question. Always flip it back on them, because accountability belongs to whoever's in control, and they love to brag about their control and power. That means they have to take the accountability, except none of it, at least not in front of them. Thanks for listening. Keep it militant. Black heart, black mind. Black out. Assalamu alaikum, black heterosexual non-select male power just because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction of Judgment Day.